Hello, everybody.
Yo.
Buenos noches. We're looking at Victoria, the oldest Mexican beer brand.
Not to be confused with Victoria's Bitter.
Yep.
Australia. No.
Or Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
This ain't no secret.
Or my ex-girlfriend, Victoria.
Right. Well,
Wow.
so,
A lot of references here.
before we say too much, this beer is, like I said, the oldest brand, and I'll talk about who's with us. From out west, we have Beer Cub and Michelle Stitches, or Michelle Stitches and Beer Cub.
Hello.
Lennon and McCartney, and then McCartney said it ought to be McCartney and Lennon with the songs he wrote, and that caused so much controversy, or controversy. Then, also in the South, we have me, Louisiana Beer Reviews, and then up north, John Sharon, Zone 1. We've got Poznansky's Beer Reviews in New York City.
All right.
New York City.
Yep, and then in the New England states, Connecticut, we have Friar Tuck, and in Massachusetts, we have Eric.
Good evening.
Now, well, 1865, it was bought out by. Now, the company that originally started it, I have this written down when I did, because I have my little beer blog, you know, that I write once a month, and so I have. It was started by a company called Compañía Cervecera de Toluca y Mexico. They were acquired by Grupo Modelo in 1935, and then Anheuser-Busch InBev bought Grupo Modelo in 2013. It's made with filtered water, barley, malt, hops, corn, and yeast. And who wants to tell the people what style of beer it is?
This is a Vienna-style lager, which, if you know about Vienna-style lager, is probably the most commercially available one that we get, at least in the United States, is the Sam Boston Lager.
Yeah. Samuel Adams Boston Lager.
That's got to be the most common one, I would assume.
And I guess Negro Modelo is a Vienna lager too, right?
Right, yes.
And the Vienna lager is usually kind of a low alcohol, reddish brown beer, right?
I think this is 4% ABV.
Reddish brown. 4%. This is super light. Oh, there's Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Woo!
Hey,
Yeah.
Paul. Hey,
Hey,
Paul,
Paul.
you've got bottles. Have you ever had this before, Paul, from Texas?
I have not, even though I live in Texas.
Oh, hey. Do you know what David Lee Roth said when he got really sick?
I'm back. No, what?
No, he got really sick, and he said, "Somebody give me a doctor."
Oh, yeah, he did say that.
Playing on Saturday in Mansfield, Mass.
Now, so we're going to go as far west as we can go to Beer Cub and Michelle. Beer Cub said he's had it. Michelle Stitches, have you had it?
I don't recall.
Okay, so
So maybe,
let us know
maybe not. I'm drinking it from my fancy glass, my birthday glass.
let us know what you think about this amber-colored beer.
I'll tell you what.
I like it better than Sam Adams.
Oh, you just lost a whole lot of.
You might get
Just northeast, just in the
Google
northeast.
Plus.
No.
What, John?
You might get dumped off Google Plus by a lot of people now.
You don't.
Well, you know, I'm not a big lager fan, but I would definitely drink this. It's crisp and refreshing, and as far as lagers go, this is the style I prefer well over the American lager style. So I think it's pretty good, but this is coming from someone who would rather have a barley wine. So.
Wow, do you kind of like that little mildly roasty quality?
Yeah, I like it, you know, and I'm kind of hot right now. I just came in from walking and had a little something to eat, so this is really good to me at the moment because I'm sort of hot and thirsty, and I think it's a very pleasant summer beer. So, so people who don't like American lagers, give this one a try. You might find you like this.
Yes, and it was developed by a German immigrant to Mexico.
There you go.
So if Michelle had a drink in her hand and her toes in the sand. Okay, now
Yeah.
here goes.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I could drink this beer every day. It goes well, of course, with Mexican food or any kind of spicy food. Super light, easy drinking, and yet it does have some nice flavor. I think, Jay, you were saying before we started that I didn't realize it was made by the same people that make Corona, but I would take this any and every day over Corona. Corona, of the Mexican beers I've tried, which is pretty much all the ones we get here in the States, Corona is probably my least favorite. This would be probably in the top 2 or 3 of all those for me.
And that comment about Corona makes me very unhappy.
Oh, well, I'll get over it.
Because I like
Boy, we're offending everybody.
I like Corona. Well,
It's not terrible. It's just I find Corona is overpriced for what it is, and I'd take pretty much any of the other competitors with it over Corona.
Corona gets a lot of heat, you know. I mean, it's a very controversial beer. You know, you have the Corona boosters who really love it, like me, and then you have other people that just hate it. You know, they hate it. It's kind of like Budweiser. It really divides people. So we've got 2 very favorable opinions of Victoria so far. I don't want you to.
Sorry, I had to laugh at that Poznansky reference.
I don't want him to say that. Okay. I went to New York
No
City
offense. No offense, Jay.
I went to New York City last month and spent money, and this is what I get. Now, now, Paul, this is
Yes.
your inaugural sampling of it. So, what do you think?
Yes.
You're drinking out the bottle.
Well, it's, you know, I don't know a lot about Vienna lagers, but it reminds me kind of that Bass Pale Ale.
Whoa.
You know, it's just flavorful, but not you know, overbearing. Get that hop bitterness, but it's not, you know, in your face. A little roastiness, a little maltiness. I didn't get much of a head when I poured it. I mean, it kind of popped up and went away really fast.
Now, when you joined us, before you joined us, I was talking about how the beer is only 4% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It was developed in 1865 by a German immigrant to Mexico. And I was saying that a Vienna lager is usually amber colored, you know, like reddish brown,
Right.
or a low alcohol type thing.
Right.
So
I like it. It's good, flavorful, nice beer.
pretty gulpable, huh?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So I'm drinking.
I'm drinking. Okay, now I'm from the South, so I'll geographically get on it now. Well, I would say, ooh la la, I like it. It's pleasant, it's light, like you say, it's mildly roasty. It's mild everything,
Right.
but it's got, when you take a sip and you sit for a second, it kind of has like a tea, you know, like brown tea.
That's. I think that's the quality of the pale ale that I'm picking up on. Doesn't that kind of have a tannic to it too?
Yeah, like a tannin.
Yeah, tannin, whatever you call it.
Biff can.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, this is an ultra gulp. I bought a 12-pack, right? So they had them on sale when they first came out with the cans. They had it on sale at Rouse's. It was $11.99 for the 12-pack of cans. So I immediately bought it.
Ooh, damn.
Boom.
My 6-pack was $9 before tax.
Well, Eric, it went up to $14.99, but they had it on sale for $11.99, so I jumped on it. You know.
Good price. I like it.
Now up to Indiana. What do you think, John Sharon, Mr. John Sharon?
John Sharon.
I'm gonna tell you, this beer to me, it doesn't have much lacing. It didn't get much head, but honestly, it's got enough carbonation in it. It looks like an Alka-Seltzer going off the bottom of this thing. But I'll tell you, to me, to me, for a beer that's been around since 1865 and it's still around today, it's a refreshing beer. It'd be a great summer beer for us people working the heat. I mean, it's an overall good beer. It's great to the palate. I mean, I'm a kind of that light beer type guy sometimes, and I could really session a lot of these beers. But yeah, I mean, to me, this is just a great beer. I mean, you're talking about a beer that's been around pre-craft beer and it's still around, and people still drinking it. I mean, that's something to say right there.
Yeah, and they're celebrating their 150th anniversary, you see.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of craft breweries celebrating 150 years.
Time will tell, but you're probably right. So you would buy it again. That's usually your standard buy again or don't buy again.
Oh, I'd definitely buy this again. I think I'd give $1.49 for a single of it. So, I mean, it's pretty reasonably priced around here. So, yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be one of those beers that I would take to a cookout or a neighbor's house that's never had one of these and introduce them to it.
Yeah, it's about $8.99 for a 6-pack around here. Now, let's see. We're going to go up to New York City and ask Lee what he thinks about it. You've had it before?
I've actually not had it before.
Ooh.
So this is my first time. It's super duper duper light to me. It has an interesting bitter aftertaste. At least this one does.
Yeah.
But it's very light, refreshing. If I don't think about that bitter aftertaste too much, I could probably drink it. I probably won't buy it again. But I'm glad I bought this. I have a few others that I'm definitely going to drink, and it is refreshing. So.
Do you think you'll make your own video review of it on your own channel?
Probably.
Yeah, I'd be curious to watch it.
Yeah, I'll probably make a video review on it.
So, you would say not buy again, but would you recommend that somebody could try it?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend someone to try it, of course. And it looks nice in the glass. I like the color, but it didn't have much head, or at least mine didn't.
Hey, Lee, when you say bitterness, do you almost get a hint of, I hate to say this word because it has such a bad connotation, but like metallic?
I did get that a little bit, but that's not what I did get what you're talking about metallic, but that's not really what I'm talking about when talking about the bitter aftertaste. I actually like my bittering taste buds are tingling right now.
Bittering taste buds.
But it's not like this ooh nasty metallic. I don't want to mislead anybody, but when he said bitter, that's what came to my mind. Is I do have a little metallic aftertaste, and we've got it in the bottle, not a can.
Well, you see, when I drink these British beers, these pale ales, and these British amber ales, a lot of times the hops will have like a metallic flavor, like the Bass Paul was talking about. But then when you drink it, you realize it's not a metallic. It's just coming from the hops, and sometimes those British ales will even have like cellar mold. You'll say like, wow, this is like old moldy potatoes from a cellar. Well, you know that's wrong, right? So when you're drinking it, you realize, no, it's just the way they make beer over there is so much different. And I don't know, but when you said metallic, that kind of set an alarm off. Not a negative alarm, but it set off a thing that made me think Paul's onto something with that. I don't know. They don't give a list of what type of hops they use on the website. They just say hops. So it'd be interesting to see what exactly are the hops. Now, I know this beer is made in Narva, Mexico, which is like about a mile across the U.S. border. And all the imported Mexican beers from Grupo Modelo are made at that brewery. All the ones that come to America, Narva, Mexico,
Yeah, you know, to me, I wonder if they're not getting kind of like almost a roasty malt in the back end of this beer.
Well, definitely that.
Huh?
Definitely that.
Yeah.
They're definitely using roasted barley malt. But it's not heavily roasted, right? It's like more like toasted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lightly toasted. Now, Friar Tuck, you've had it before, huh?
I got this 2 weeks ago, and I tried a bottle when I first got it. So it was 2 weeks ago. It was the first time I ever tried it.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying it. There's a couple other ones I would prefer in this style that I see on Beer Advocate that I would get over this based on price, but it's not bad. It's very watery, quenching my thirst pretty well. I'm not getting too much hops, a little bit of toastiness to it, but
You can kind of see why they would.
What's the other ones you were talking about?
let's see. Sam Adams I would take over this.
Uh-oh.
Dos Equis Ambar I'd take over this.
No, not for me.
This one's not available everywhere, but I'd take this Von Trapp over it.
Von Trapp.
Oh, like the sound of music. Well,
Yeah, I believe it's the same family that makes that. They're located up in Stowe, Vermont.
Mm-hmm. That's them.
What about Negro Modelo?
They don't have that listed, but I would take that over this too. I think Negro Modelo might be a buck or two cheaper than the six-pack too in my area.
You can get that stuff low sometimes, but it's a Vienna lager, isn't it?
I'm not seeing it on here, but chances are it probably is.
It's kind of like that same color. It's a little more alcohol though. Was it 5.2?
What is that, Negro Modelo?
Negro Modelo, yeah.
5.4, Jay.
Huh?
5.4.
That's what I thought, yeah. Hey, but you can see why a beer would be made so light and crisp like this down in the tropics of Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's 99 degrees here today, and in Mexico you'll get down into the hundreds, man. I've been down along the Texas-Mexico border. Like I went down along the Texas-Mexico border last year, and it was like 102 degrees. And this was in April.
Yeah.
Imagine what it was like in July.
No.
Out
Jeez,
starts getting like a desert. Say that again.
Does anybody know if this is made with adjuncts or what? I understand that nobody really knows the ingredients.
Corn.
Corn.
The Crown Imports website says that it is made with corn.
I don't taste it though.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't get the corn in it either whatsoever.
I was kind of gonna
Not at
say the
all.
opposite in a way where I think I'm getting that. I don't want to say fire roasted. That's not exactly what I want to say here, but I am getting a nice, we're getting that toasted flavor from probably the malted barley, but I do feel like I am getting a little bit of like a roasted corn flavor that
Really?
I think as far as corn is used in a beer, I think this one uses the corn in a very pleasant way that's non-offensive. That what it does, what it doesn't do, I think this beer, what it doesn't do, like with a lot of beers that are made with the corn, is sometimes those beers can be overly sweet. And I don't think this beer is overly sweet at all. I think it's just right in the palate.
It's like popcorn without the butter. Without the butter.
Right, exactly. Yes, without the butter, exactly. And no
Popcorn's
salt.
only good if you have it with butter though.
No salt. Yeah, but of course this.
If you want to taste a beer, to me, that's got the corn and the butter flavor, try Steel Reserve 211.
Oh no! Try Miller Fortune.
I've gotten some Narragansetts that are like that.
Yeah, I can see why you would say that. Yeah.
So Eric, what is your overall opinion of the beer?
Well, I thought that flavor that I just described was very, very interesting to me. I like that. I don't know if my overall opinion it would be at $9 where I normally get it at for a six-pack that I would continuously buy it every now. I mean, continuously. I mean, I wouldn't buy it every now and then, but I really, really do like this, and I really do think that out of most commercial products that we get in the United States, Mexico beer, this either has to be my favorite Mexican beer or it's got to be in the top 2 or 3. So I would definitely say try it. If you want to buy a six-pack at $9, it would be worth the try to buy it. But if you get them in singles, that might be a better way to go.
Well, let's say if you went to Mexico, let's say you went to Mexico on a trip and you were at a Mexican restaurant and they had it for like $1 a bottle.
There was absolutely no reason to not drink this beer at that point in time, and it's.
I would session them at a Mexican restaurant in Mexico for $1 a bottle. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, you when you came to New Orleans earlier this year, you did a good number of sessions.
Yeah.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
He was
And we enjoyed,
huh?
and we enjoyed them.
Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely on the scale of not recommend to go out and buy it now. I would say highly recommend. It's not a go out and it's not like you got to stop what you're doing, stop watching this review, and go get the beer now. I wouldn't say to do that, but I would highly recommend this beer.
Right. Next time you go to the grocery store, if you see it in a 6-pack or a 12-pack, then buy it. You'll probably like it if you're not too picky.
I think if you like a beer, Killian's a different style altogether. But I think if you like a Killian's, and I think somebody mentioned Bass, I think if you like Killian's or Bass, you would probably like this beer a lot.
Oh yeah, good point, Killian's.
Or even Newcastle, maybe.
Okay.
I would put this up against the Newcastle or a. This is almost, to me, it's a whole different ballgame than Newcastle and Killian. I mean, you're talking, you know. But I'm not trying to disagree with you. I mean,
Right.
Great beers, but this is such a lighter beer than those two, though.
Oh yeah, it's so much lighter. Yeah.
Yep.
But this is still, I think this is still one of those good beers that we talk about. That's a good one to introduce people who aren't necessarily into these kind of beers or more into Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite.
Mexican beer.
It's
a
a
step
good,
up from Corona.
it's a good alternative. It has some flavor to it, but it wouldn't overwhelm anyone.
And it wouldn't scare them off.
Mm-hmm.
No.
In other words, you wouldn't go to a Bud Light drinker and say, "Hey, you need to step up into the beer world. Here's some narwhal."
No. I might say that, but I'm not going to tell people.
But I agree a little bit with Beer Cup. I mean, I would take this beer over Corona any day, or Corona Light.
Well,
Yes,
that's great.
Corona Light is awful. No offense to anyone that likes it.
Frustrated right now.
I mean, I could much rather enjoy this than a Corona or a Corona Light. I mean, that's just. I'm sorry, but I have to agree with the guys that think it's better than Corona and the girls.
John, you're obviously a man of high intelligence and great taste.
And class.
Yeah.
Class.
But I mean, I would probably pick this first, and maybe what is it, the Soul next? Probably that would be mine.
Ah, well, now that you mentioned Soul, we have an interesting lineup coming up. I have a proposal that we look at Pacifico next week, Dos Equis Ambar 2 weeks from now, and Soul 3 weeks from now. How you like that idea? And then Tecate.
Good.
And Tecate.
So we could be like, oh yeah, bottoms up. But
Jay, all I have to say to that is muy bien.
Oh.
Me gusta cerveza.
So
Don't know what you're saying.
Yahoo partner.
well, it does say right here on the beer, it says La Primera Cerveza de Mexico. That means the premier beer of Mexico, tipo Vienna. And that means Vienna type. And so anyway, I guess now it's funny because it says visit victoriabeer.com, but if you type in victoriabeer.com, there's like nothing there. It's like, what is the purpose of it?
They must have not renewed their domain name rights.
It's a site, but it's like a email site where you can send an email to Crown Beverages, Crown Import.
Yeah, that's about the best website for this beer is the Crown Import site.
Yeah, but Crown Imports. This is interesting, and then we'll close this out. When Anheuser-Busch InBev bought Grupo Modelo 2 years ago, the U.S. government stepped in and said, "Oh no, that's a monopoly." Because what would happen is if they bought it, it would cause Anheuser-Busch to own over 50% of the beer brands in America. All right, so they would own most of the beer brands in America. So the U.S. government, to protect us, you understand? Paul knows about this. In order to protect us, they said they could not own Grupo Modelo in America. So Crown Imports owns Grupo Modelo in America, but Anheuser-Busch InBev owns Grupo Modelo in Mexico and everywhere else in the world.
That's how they skirt the laws.
Of course.
Jay, you remind me when I was in law school, I took antitrust law, and my favorite thing was reading these opinions of these federal court judges opining on the the market of tires or rubber in the U.S. and acting like they knew what they were talking about. It was pretty hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you get on,
and basically it all depended on how they define the market. So they could define it any way they want, and then say, okay, you own a majority of this market, so you have to divest this and this, or you can't do this merger.
all the time, Anheuser-Busch InBev is at like 48% of the beer market in America, right? But they won't let them get to 51%.
Oh, well. That's still pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, but in reality, they are over 51%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe
probably close to 65.
God forbid you make the best product on the planet and everybody wants to buy it. That's the worst thing you could do.
No, they say, you know how they're saying it will make the prices go up.
If you keep one foot on the floor, you're not having an affair, right? Isn't that the rule?
Right. Now, when
Hey, wait a minute.
Jay, they probably own 65 or 70%, really. To get
well,
right
it's probably in the 50s. It's in the 50s because you have all these brands, right? Like Corona, which is what the third best-selling beer in the world almost. You got Corona, Victoria, Pacifico, Modelo, Negro Modelo, all of these brands that they actually own, and those are big sellers in America. But on paper, those beers are owned by Crown Imports, Constellation Beverages of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But in every other country in the world, it's owned by InBev. It was really a convoluted. It's like a convoluted logic of. I read that carefully when they did it. So it's like, well, who in the U.S. government was in cahoots with Constellation Brands, right? Or Crown Imports, which is part of Constellation Brands. It's almost like, well, we wanted this action.
They're in Chicago?
Oh.
Is that what you said? Is that what you said?
Crown Imports is.
Chicago.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I think Anheuser-Busch InBev was going to buy them, but you see Constellation Brands owns all these liquor and wine brands. They handle all the big-time liquor. So they had to protect. Well, anyway, instead of getting off on that philosophy, they did protect us from
ourselves.
And so, Michelle, maybe that metallic flavor is a mineral water type taste. I would not argue against that.
Yeah, I know every kind of a beer, if you brew it the same exact way and you just take into account the water that you're using, every kind of beer could taste slightly different. I just kind of thought about that.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, even in home brewing, the pH of your water can really affect things, so you have to be aware of that.
I'm not knocking the Victoria beer, but it almost has like a well water kind of a taste. I think about it.
Pellegrino water.
Yeah.
Yes.
You always said don't drink the water in Mexico.
Drink the beer. Drink the beer, not the water.
I have never done that. But when I went to Costa Rica, I drank the water right out the tap, and it never bothered me at all. Nope.
New York City has the best tap water ever.
I drank tap water in New York City the whole time I was there, and it was really nice.
It's awesome.
It was nice. Now,
thank you.
I was really impressed. No, I mean, I'm not joking. I really did enjoy it. But anyway, so next week is Pacifico, which would be a totally different animal in a lot of ways. Of course, it's a lager, but it's going to be different. It's going to have more alcohol. It's going to be yellow, fizzy stuff.
Uh-oh. No.
Oh, boy.
I don't know who's going to join us next week, but I bet you I know who isn't going to join us next week. But anyway, so thank you all for watching this video production, and that's the end of that. It's over.
Bye, guys.